Families are preparing for a somber anniversary as May 24th marks 1 year since the gunman killed 19 students and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas.
It's like a fresh wound being opened back up. They remember in the moments they sent them off to school.
Those families are now turning to activism, taking their demands to state lawmakers.
We do everything to protect these guns. Let's just try something to protect our children.
And art therapists look for ways to help the community heal, one mosaic tile at a time.
It's okay to be broken to still make something beautiful.
Thanks for joining us for In the News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. May 24th, 2022 started out as a day of celebration for students, parents, and teachers who attended their elementary school's end-of-year awards ceremony. But by the end of the day, there was pain, grief, and anger as an 18-year-old gunman changed their lives forever by taking the lives of dozens of people. That's the day a small town near San Antonio, Texas became the site of the state's deadliest school shooting in history. Those killed that day, mostly 10 and 11-year-olds, were honor students, athletes, and artists, and the educators who died that day had decades of experience between them.
Annabelle Rodriguez, Uzziah Garcia, Xavier James Lopez, Eva Morales, Eliana Cruz Torres, Rogelio Torres, Nevaeh Bravo, Haley Nicole Silguero, Irma Garcia, Jose Flores, Layla Salazar, Ellie Garcia, J.C. Luevanos, Jackie Cazares, Amarie Jo Garcia, Tess Mata, Lexi Ruby, Alethea Ramirez, Maite Rodriguez, Miranda Mathis, McKenna Lee Elrod.
As the community works to heal, people from around the state of Texas and the country will travel to Uvalde to remember the victims. One of those group, the Surviving Parents of Southeast Texas, will return to Uvalde to offer support. KBMT reporter Cameron Seibert talked with a few moms in that group about their mission.
This wall represents the whole picture of grief and the whole picture of hope.
Surrounded by faces gone too soon, Demetria Holloway remembers boys, girls, men, and women who left behind a family.
So it's 9 days from today, the anniversary.
The Surviving Parents of Southeast Texas are gearing up for their next big mission.
The need is the same as when that day it happened.
Specializing in grief counseling, the group will make a second trip to Uvalde, offering support on the 1-year anniversary.
We've lost a child. We know the hurt, the magnitude that they lost. We know that's important for somebody to be there for them.
They also know that anniversaries are the hardest.
It's like a fresh wound being opened back up. They remember in the moments they sent them off to school. The night before when they gave them their baths, it's just reliving coming up to that moment.
This group is strong, but they can't do it alone. They need community support. They plan to bring donations to grieving families, teachers, and surviving students in Uvalde. A show of support on behalf of Southeast Texas.
If you have a love for another person and have the compassion and you say, I've been there and I've done that, and I know how it's important for somebody to come and see about me.
As our neighbors prepare to remember the worst, it's time for us to send them our best.
Uvalde city and county leaders are asking for privacy during this time. In an open letter signed by the mayor and others, it says the community is still in mourning and they ask for peace and privacy during what will be a very difficult time for many, especially the children. They go on to write, if you feel compelled to support the residents of Uvalde, please host something in your hometown in our honor. Families of victims want to make sure the lives of their loved ones live on through the dreams of others. KENS 5 reporter Hannah Teedy shows how families want the nation to remember their names.
She was loving, she was caring.
And most of all, Eva Morales always put others before herself. That's what her daughter Adeline Reese remembers. There's no doubt in her mind the 4th grade teacher put her students first on May 24th when a gunman entered her classroom.
I don't hesitate at all that she would do that because she loved her students so much.
That love lives on through family and friends and the many students Eva once taught.
I really hope that I could turn out to be just like her, even half the woman that she was.
Now Eva's legacy will live on through the next generation of educators. 21 scholarships will honor those who lost their lives, and one will be awarded on behalf of survivors,
So that people can always remember their faces and their names.
Adeline tells us families will be involved in picking recipients.
For example, we're going to be seeing who wants to go into education, and we're going to read essays and everything and see who we think would fit best for my mom's scholarship.
This weekend, people gathered at the Uvalde County Fairplex to raise money for the Remember Their Name scholarships. Food, music, and games brought hope out of the darkness. For Adeline, it's not what happened to her mother that should be focused on, but who her mother was.
We don't want people to remember Uvalde as tragedy. You want, oh, that's the town where Eva Morales was at, where Ellie, where Amory, where Layla, you know, just to remember the good things about these 21.
Hannah Tita, KENS 5.
After the shooting, numerous nonprofits formed to try to make schools safer. One of them is the Uvalde Foundation for Kids. KENS 5 reporter Zach Briggs explains how the group is hoping to make a national impact.
I talked to schools and students and principals all over this country just in the last year, and everybody's heart not only is toward what's happening in their own schools and districts, but one of the most common conversations I have, what's going on in Uvalde? Is Uvalde okay? We're still thinking about them.
The Robb Elementary tragedy reignited the national conversation about school safety and gun laws.
Collectively, we were stronger.
Daniel Chapin, National Director of the Uvalde Foundation for Kids, is fighting alongside more than 100 volunteers across the country to end school violence.
We have professional mental health resources across the country.
The nonprofit claims it's performed numerous independent investigations of school district safety measures after traumatic events, including cases of bullying. Chapin says the foundation offers free mental health resources among other programs designed to make schools safer.
Mental health provisions, behavioral care, helping schools understand that violence is not just something that's external coming in, but it is a culture of violence that's created and can be mitigated.
In March, a gunman killed 3 children and 3 adults at Covenant School in Nashville. The foundation formally recognized the officers who took down the shooter. Next month, representatives from the Uvalde Foundation for Kids and Sandy Hook Promise will be meeting with the Metro Nashville Council.
Trying to collaborate our efforts with theirs and also hopefully serve as an example, more of an example, for other districts, cities, and states across the country.
Zach Briggs, KENS 5.
Moving forward, Robb Elementary will be demolished and a new school will replace it. KENS 5 reporter Alyssa Tejas shows us renderings of what will be the new state-of-the-art facility.
Here's a look at this new school. It's a bird's eye view, including the entrance and common spaces outdoors. Robb Elementary is set to be demolished soon. The school will be home to 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders for a total of 800 students. And the 3 drivers behind the design process were brain research, emergency management, and trauma-informed care. The Moving Forward Foundation is a nonprofit who is funding these plans. It says the new school will also pay tribute to the victims of last year's shooting through a tree sculpture that you're looking up there at your screen. The 2 large branches represent the 2 teachers who lost their lives, while the 19 smaller branches represent the children.
There has been plenty of fallout from the mass shooting. Shortly after the shooting, the police response came under scrutiny. State police say more than an hour passed from the time police entered the school to when the gunman was killed. Survivors and families of those killed have filed several lawsuits. KENS 5 reporter Matt Houston details the $27 billion class action suit.
Attorneys hand-delivered this paperwork to Uvalde officials Wednesday. They so far represent staff and children who were at Robb Elementary during the shooting, but not inside the classrooms the gunman attacked.
They are traumatized. They're hurting. They're afraid of the dark.
The suit describes children who cry when they leave their friends, worried they won't see them again. And another boy who obsessively ties strings to doors, hoping to reinforce them.
They're totally changed from what they were on May 23rd, the day before this incident.
Attorneys cite a Stanford expert who argues shooting witnesses' brains are permanently altered by trauma. Some of the massive award would pay for lifelong mental health care for those children and school staff.
We have to have enough money to get their attention. They cannot put profits over the lives of our children.
Attorneys blame dozens of entities, including the Oasis Outback, where the gunman picked up the weapon he used. One suit argues its employees missed, quote, blatantly obvious red flags about the 18-year-old. It also contends gunmaker Daniel Defense entices troubled young people to buy weapons using ads that imply its guns are tactical and combat ready.
This is directly from Daniel Defense.
Lawyers want a judge to force Daniel Defense to change its marketing strategy. In Uvalde, Matt Houston, KENS 5.
We turn now to gun reform. After the shooting, parents turned advocates began fighting for stricter gun laws. 10-year-old Lexi Rubio's parents demanded action shortly after the shooting.
We're the parents of Alexandria Anaya, best known as Lexi Rubio, and 5 other children who all attended Uvalde Public Schools during the 2021 to 2022 school year. Calissa, who completed high school this year, Isaiah, who attends Uvalde High School, David Morales Junior High, Jalila Flores Elementary, and our 2 youngest children, Julian 8 and Lexi 10, who were at Robb Elementary. On the morning of May 24th, 2022, I dropped Lexi and Julian off at school a little after 7 a.m. My husband and I returned to the campus at 8 a.m. for Julian's award ceremony and again at 10:30 a.m. for Lexi's award ceremony. Lexi received the Good Citizen Award and was also recognized for receiving all A's. At the conclusion of the ceremony, we took photos with her before asking her to pose for a picture with her teacher, Mr. Reyes. That photo, her last photo ever, was taken at approximately 10:54 a.m. To celebrate, we promised to get her ice cream that evening. I told her we loved her and we would pick her up after school. I can still see her walking with us toward the exit. In the reel that keeps scrolling across my memories, she turns her head and smiles back at us to acknowledge my promise. And then we left. I left my daughter at that school, and that decision will haunt me for the rest of my life. We stand for Lexi, and as her voice, we demand action. We seek a ban on assault rifles and high-capacity magazines. We understand that for some reason, to some people, to people with money, to people who fund political campaigns, that guns are more important than children. So at this moment, we ask for progress. We seek to raise the age to purchase these weapons from 18 to 21 years of age. We seek red flag laws, stronger background checks. We also want to repeal gun manufacturers' liability immunity. You've all seen glimpses of who Lexi was, but I also want to tell you a little bit about who she would have been. If given the opportunity, Lexi would have made a positive change in this world. She wanted to attend St. Mary's University in San Antonio, Texas, on a softball scholarship. She wanted to major in math and go on to attend law school. That opportunity was taken from her. She was taken from us. I'm a reporter, a student, a mom, a runner. I've read to my children since they were in the womb. My husband is a law enforcement officer, an Iraq war veteran. He loves fishing and our babies. Somewhere out there, there's a mom listening to our testimony, thinking, I can't even imagine their pain, not knowing that our reality will one day be hers, unless we act now.
In April, families took their fight to the state capitol, pleading with lawmakers for change. Adriana de Alba shares their emotional testimony.
I arrived here today at 8 a.m.
The wait to testify lasted more than 13 hours.
Did you think we would go home?
It kept families of Uvalde victims at the state capitol past midnight. It's the first Texas legislative session since the state's worst school shooting in history. Hours passed, taking Kimberly Rubio back to May 24th, the day she lost her daughter, Lexi.
We waited hours to be told our daughter would never come home.
What could I have done?
19 children and 2 teachers never came home. A gunman murdered the victims with an AR-15 he purchased the day after his 18th birthday.
As a parent, enough is enough. Please do something.
Parents begging Texas lawmakers to support a bill that would raise the age to buy semi-automatic guns to 21.
We do everything to protect these guns. Let's just try something to protect our children.
I don't want you to have to identify your child's body based on what he was wearing to school that day.
Javier Cazares, whose daughter Jackie wanted to be a vet, wonders what her final thoughts were.
I try to tell everyone that I'm okay. I raise my voice louder and louder, but no response. Why can't anyone hear me?
They want lawmakers to listen, but the NRA argued such a bill would likely be deemed unconstitutional. Other states have identical laws. Despite the uphill battle this bill faces,
Our hearts may be broken, but our resolve has never been stronger.
families whose lives are forever changed are determined to fight on. In DFW, I'm Adriana Dalb.
Families want lawmakers to make it illegal for people under 21 to buy certain semi-automatic rifles. We go to KENS 5 reporter Zach Briggs again to explain their uphill battle.
In a letter sent today, more than 20 members of the Texas House are calling on Representative Dustin Burrows and Speaker Dade Phelan to move HB 2744 from committee to the House floor. Families of the 21 Uvalde shooting victims are amplifying the urgency.
They don't want someone else to go through the same nightmare that they're going through right now.
Jesse Rizzo, uncle of Jackie Cazares, has been among the dozens of family members pushing for the passage of a bill that would raise the age to buy certain semi-automatic rifles from 18 to 21.
We knew, Zach, especially the parents, that it's a long shot. We know that there's a lot of obstacles, a lot of difference of opinions.
Based on the members on the calendars committee, some of whom voted against the legislation yesterday, chances of it making to the House floor are iffy at best.
UTSA political science professor John Taylor anticipates an even steeper uphill battle for HB 2744. Governor Greg Abbott has deemed such legislation unconstitutional.
I don't mean to belittle it or to minimize it, but right now, just based on who's in the majority and who's in power, the possibility of this bill becoming law is still extraordinarily low.
And despite the odds, these families showing no signs of slowing down.
One step at a time, just have faith and have the ability to honor your loved one that didn't come home.
Zach Briggs, KENS 5.
Artists have found ways to help families in Uvalde. KVUE's Fort Sanders explains how art therapists in Austin, Texas are helping kids, parents, and teachers work through their trauma.
Thousands.
Right, we're just gonna.
And thousands of tiles.
And then we go shelf, 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 shelf.
Art telling a story.
What a mosaic is, it's okay to be broken to still make something beautiful, and all of these parts come together. These are all of your community's stories coming together.
It's a project art therapist Wanda Montemayor wanted to create for anyone affected by the Robb Elementary School shooting.
Talk therapy really only hits the frontal cortex. So my favorite analogy is that your brain is a house and you can only be in one room at a time. A lot of people weren't getting services, they weren't actually being connected.
It's called the Uvalde Love Project, a mosaic paying homage to the nature and beauty around us. Montemayor says not only are these students getting help, but teachers and their parents are getting in on the action, seeing changes in their kids in real time.
And one parent was saying, like, my child is now sleeping in their own bed, which is a huge thing. Yeah. It's a huge thing. You're gonna try and get every little inch in there.
Montemayor and her group go down to Uvalde 3 times a month to create the tiles with kids and offer group therapy. Counselor Kami Land says she sees the progress these families are making.
They can bounce off each other and offer that support.
even well after we're gone, they'll have those connections.
Whether it's butterflies, tree trunks, or rivers, each tile is customized as they work.
We have 19 small glass mosaic butterflies and then 2 larger ones to represent the teachers.
Both say they know the town wants to move forward, but also to not be left behind.
Uvalde doesn't want to be remembered as the town that had the school shooting. They want to be remembered as a friendly, kind community that makes great honey, right?
Making sure that these tiles help Uvalde heal.
In the months following the shooting, makeshift memorials grew honoring each of the victims. People traveled from near and far to stand with Uvalde. One memorial in particular is hoping to create unity, healing, and remembrance. KEN's 5 reporter Sarah Duran showcases the 21 Portraits Project.
Atop a lift in Uvalde, Cristina Noriega is using her brush.
There's a lot of little details that really tell her story.
To paint a young girl she's never met. Her assistant Alina De Leon helps down below.
Something about Amory's story just really touched me.
Noriega is a mother of 2 daughters.
One of them's a 4th grader, also a 10-year-old.
Just like Amory Jo Garza was.
It really hit me.
Garza died in the mass shooting at Robb Elementary.
I cried about it.
When finished, this portrait will show the girl in her favorite lavender dress in front of a paint palette. That's what her family requested.
We learned that she was an artist.
Garza's mural will be surrounded by paintings of the 20 other victims as part of the 21 Portraits Project, an idea inspired by a local Uvalde artist and managed by Monica Maldonado.
This is about honoring the children, the families.
Painted by dozens of artists, mostly Latino.
We definitely wanted to make sure that the story of the children could really be represented through someone who could identify with them.
We'll always remember her and what an amazing little girl she was.
And reflect on their loved one's life. In Uvalde, Sarah Duran, KEN's 5.
Thank you for being with us for this special edition of In the News Now. We leave you now with a tribute to the 19 students and 2 teachers who lost their lives that day.